Johnson, and this is focused on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sier. The pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia Friday night debate. We have very important issues to debate tonight. The debaters are set and they are ready for Friday night debate. We are calling on you, the audience, to be part of this Friday night debate by sharing the broadcast with somebody in your contact. For it is Friday night debate, and we are here to debate serious national issues happening in our dear country, Liberia. We want to bring clarity to the issues. We want to make the issue clearer so that policy leaders can be able to get deeper understanding of these issues to make decisions in the best interest of the country. Seated and ready is the man who has joined us from the Sunshine State of Florida. He's no one else but my ambassador brother, Mr. Jerome Gilman, who drinks from a Sacramento cup. It's good to see you, brother. You're fresh from Liberia after enjoying nothing but organic. How you doing?
That's correct. Thank you very much, Doc. It's an honor to be here with you guys. The great personalities, as usual, Dr. Pearson, and our own spiritual advisor, Brother Washington. It's an honor.
Well, thanks always for joining us here on the debate. Let us welcome Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. He's a new progressive commentator here at Focus on Liberia. He's a Liberian and also an author, a philanthropist, an educator. Brother, welcome. How you doing?
I'm good, Anthony. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. I want to say hi to my fellow panelists, Mr. Gibman, Pastor Washington, and viewers and listeners out there. Look, I'm looking forward to a great debate. Bring it on, and let us have this conversation about Mama Liberia.
Also here and seated for the debate is an independent mind, Reverend Father Dr. Elijah Bobby Washington. My good friend, welcome, and welcome to Friday Night Debate. How you doing?
Thank you, Anthony. It's a privilege. I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to be able to share this platform with my esteemed brothers. I want to say hats off to our military people in Liberia, our nurses, our doctors, our people from the city hall who clean our streets, and everybody which out of the little do for our country, make our country better. We just want to say hats off to you and thank you for the job you do each and every day for our country.
It is always good to have you. On the menu tonight, the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas calls for sanction on some state actors. Where is Victor Namwe? He should be here to tell us what is ULAA up to here. Are they trying to pick up some teeth, put it in their mouth, and buy politically? I want to know what ULAA is up to here. We will discuss that issue. Also on the menu, American fire investigators released their report. The Liberian government and through the Liberian National Police called for some U.S. fire experts to go and help with the situation we have had at the National Legislature, specifically the lower house, the House of Representatives, that got a fire. And so the experts went to be able to bring some clarity by investigating what actually happened. They released a report, but their finding and conclusion is nowhere different from what the locals on the ground had also reported. We will look at that issue. Also on the menu, a new political party is in Liberia. Based on my reading, today actually having to be the day they're supposed to be certificated and certified and given a political blessing by the National Election Commission. That party is called Citizen Movement for Change. Its political leader, Musa Hassan Berete, a Liberian politician and businessman. Some people think he's savvy when it comes to business. He knows how to make money, and he has been entrenched in the Liberian political culture. This guy is no small potato when it comes to politics in Liberia. Also on the menu, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not wasting time throwing her criticism at the Supreme Court for what she classifies as ambiguous ruling of that Supreme Court into the matter concerning now a majority bloc and minority bloc. The Speaker's position in Liberia is being contested. She is not happy with the Supreme Court. She thinks the Supreme Court is causing more harm than good. The debaters are fired up about this topic. Let me welcome J. Victor Namwe. He's focused on Liberia political analyst, a member of ULAA, and he's here and well seated. Brother, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, it is good to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great. As you can see, I'm on fire, and I want you to give me that fire so Liberia can get a meat. I don't eat bones. I'm a lion from Southtown. Let me start with you here. ULAA calls for sanction on some state actors. You are a member of ULAA. You know everything about ULAA, I want to believe. What is ULAA up to? Are you trying to pick up some teeth to bite?
Well, look, I tell you, this release, if you look at the date, this was issued back in December. I think this was December 9th or so. Remember, the Supreme Court ruling came out on the 6th of December, declaring both sides, to come within the bounds of the Constitution. Of course, by then, Richard Coon, had installed himself as the Speaker. And so we were urging all sides, actually, really, the Coon side, because as far as we are concerned in this matter, I think COFA has really been quite steady and firm, only that he wants to be removed legally. He hasn't made any move at all. So we believe that the Supreme Court was actually referring to the 43 and telling them, look, you guys are acting outside of the Constitution. But after the pronouncement, both sides declared victory, and they proceeded to act even further than they had done before, prior to December 6th. So that release was really urging all sides to exercise restraint and return within the bounds of the Constitution. And we were urging the international community to take notice of what was happening in Liberia. And if people were found to be culpable of perpetuating this stalemate, we still persist. Remember, this time we have not had a fire at the Capitol building. And so we were urging all sides and calling on the international to take notice. And if people were found to be defiant of the Supreme Court ruling, we thought those people should be put on the sanction list and visa restriction issued against them. I'm sorry. Am I still with you?
Yeah, you are with us. Go ahead.
I got interrupted by a call. And so that's when that release was issued, and we still stand by that release. We think this is nonsense, and I'm sure we'll go into this later on as the show continues. Even the president himself, I think he's finally coming around. We've been saying this ever since. 6 months wasted. I mean, resources wasted, millions wasted on this foolishness, which really is artificial. It didn't have to be this way. So yeah, we did issue that release, and we stand by it.
So for clarity, who are the specific stake actors that you want to see sanctioned as a result of what you consider, not proper behavior by these leaders?
Well, every gathering has its own leaders. This 47 or whatever they call themselves, Richard Kuhn is in the leadership. Clarence Carr is in the leadership. Or James Collier is in the leadership, or Henry Family. Look, all of those who will be found to be significantly responsible for perpetuating this nonsense, we think they should be there to book. We think they should be made to account for wasting our time, our resources, and embarrassing us, dragging us into this shame, which we really didn't have to come to. So yes, I'm sure an investigation will be conducted, and those who will be found to be most, significantly responsible for perpetuating this, we think they should be made to pay. We think they should be paid. Far too long, people have gotten away with everything in Liberia, my dear brother. And when is it going to stop? I tell you all this. I am not a fan of Kofas, but this time I stand with him for drawing the line in the sand. This illegality that we have existing in this country, it hasn't stopped. And so those who will be found to be perpetuating this divide, we know money changed hands. Luther Collins was on tape displaying countless amount of money. So we know all of that. So we think the investigation should be conducted. And if the investigation shows X, Y, Z, or AY, 1, 2, 3 persons or so were found to be culpable, we think they should be brought to book. And that's the point we're making in there.
Mr. Nambe, you personally feel strongly that the president shares a huge responsibility in this matter. You believe that the president has been supporting this, what you classify as this illegal group, just paraphrasing, your assessment of the whole situation here, that if the president did not give his support to this that you call foolishness, we would not be at this place. So if you are calling for sanction on individuals who bear the greatest responsibility, one might think that you are including the president here, but I don't see that to be the case.
Look, the investigation will show the facts. I think it's obvious the people who are perpetuating this. If the president himself is found to be a part of those who are perpetuating it, of course, I think he should be made to pay. Because look, these people represent or they serve us. We're not serving them. It is a privilege to serve your country. I have maintained, and several others have, the president had the capacity, and he's demonstrating that now. He's had the capacity from the get-go to bring this thing to an end. But what did he do? He exercised judgment that enabled Richard Cohn, a fraudster, to preside over a budget that is already in motion. So now what is going to happen to all of this? Are all of this going to be reversed if the conclusion is whatever they did was done illegally? Look at the confusion. Look at the mess that this president is presiding over. So yes, if anybody is found culpable, no exception, we think they should be made to pay.
All right.
They should be made to pay.
Thank you, Mr. Namwe. Someone tried to get your attention there. You can see who's that. That might be an emergency. Father Washington, let me get to you. I'm sure, like many Liberians, you are also troubled by this. What you think of ULAA's position here that individuals should be held accountable through sanctions for what they consider as improper behavior? They're trying to throw the country in chaos here.
Mrs. Sia, thank you again. Thanks to to us. ULAA is it's a big institution. I expect every Liberian to have a stake in their country and to take action that is going to bring about the good of their country. But like people like ULAA, if you for some reason have to make a public announcement, I would expect ULAA to go more than just saying, "Oh, people, whoever is culpable, call names and shame the people." That's the way to go. You know what is going in our country. Call their names. Say what they're doing. Shame them. And just not, you know, like you want to do something, but you just hide your hand and say, "Oh, whoever is going to be culpable." How are you going to make that determination? When the Supreme Court come out and say, "Oh, go back to where we're supposed to go and let their, Speaker Kofa preside," then you say that Cone is, responsible, or the president is responsible. How are you going to take action? I mean, for me, I think if you want to take action, call people names. Say, "This is what you're doing in our country. We think this is irresponsible, and we wanted to call you a name and shame you." And that's the way people would take actions in their life. But if you just leave it open, everybody thinks they're doing the right thing. When you call this the cool group, they say they're doing the right thing. They say they're following their rules. If you call the co-founder, they say, "Oh, okay, we follow the rule of law." So at the end of the day, how do you make that determination? So I think it's a good thing that they made a public statement, but I think they should just go more than that and begin to name and shame people in this country. That's the way we're going to change our country.
Others are criticizing ULAA that ULAA is yet to do any investigation to be coming to the conclusion of a position to call for sanction against these individuals they believe to be bearing the greater responsibility, for this. I would call it complete nonsense. Do you think people have a point against ULAA that you have not done any investigation? Are you coming up with a conclusion?
I think so too, and we have this. I know where we get to this whole thing about trying. Every time we want to solve our problems, we just say, "Okay, put sanction on this person, put sanction on this person." I think that's what we should go more than that. And we ourselves should have a responsibility to our country. If we know people are doing things that it's not helping our country, let us name and shame them. We shouldn't just watch it and say, "Oh, okay, let's call the U.S. government to put sanction on this person, to put sanction on this person." I don't think that's the way to always go. There are people in our country who they stay on sanction, but they still work in our government, they still steal our money. So I don't know what it's even working.
And that's the other thing. That's the other question I have for you. Now you go into it. Let me bring it to you. I, for one, don't see how these sanctions are affecting the Liberian political bureaucrats who enjoy enormous wealth and power still in Liberia. We are all aware of Edwin Snow. We are all aware of Bill Twelway and what's the other guy named Nathaniel Mangier. These guys still wield so much power in our country. These guys are enjoying life. The only thing is they're not traveling to America. So calling on America to put sanction on this individual, I mean, has it changed behavior in any shape and form of these political actors in our country?
It hasn't. Unfortunately, it hasn't. So that should be something different that we need to do as a country, or that's something that we need to do as a population to see how we can be able to bring these people to book. Because if we just say, "Oh, put sanction there because we think you're not going to come to America," that's not going to solve the problem. Somebody say, "To hell with America, I'm going to come to you, or I'm going to stay in Liberia and stay steal your money and stay use your people." So I think these kind of institutions like ULAA, they need to do more on the ground with the people, provide a lot of education so people can say, "Hey, these people are actually criminal. We don't need to vote for them again so that they keep perpetrating the things they're doing to our people." So I think that's where that focus needs to be on the people, educate the people, and let the people make that decision. Either they go after these people by getting signature to get them out of government, or don't vote for them. But asking for sanction, for me, it's not working. So I think that's not the way to go.
And Dr. Pearson, let me come to you. The whole sanction thing, Liberian official, Liberian citizen running to Uncle Sam, is this big brother mentality, this master mentality. Let's go to America. They will help us hold our people accountable. And ULAA too, that are having to be, quote unquote, our intellectual class is doing the same thing. It said that we are powerless as a people to hold our own public officials accountable. And do they have a plan? Are they using the rightful mechanism yet to hold the leaders accountable, in your opinion?
Thank you, Mr. CA, for the question. I think it's a good question. I just want to acknowledge one of my fellow graduates from high school on the line, on the live today, Vicky John. I want to say thank you for joining us and for contributing with your comment as well. and to others who are on there that I know. You know, Dennis, there are those who believe, not Dennis, but Mr. C, there are those who believe that in our body politics, it is a bad thing for us to be dependent on the United States for a lot of things, but I do not subscribe to that ideology for two reasons. One, politics is not divorced from diplomacy. Politics is also not divorced from political pressure. So if you have two kids in a home fighting, and whoever is the oldest or the parent in the house cannot put the situation under control, of course, if you can get help from outside, you will do so. To what extent that help will help remedy the situation, that's another thing altogether. I also would not be say that a sanction does not have its own impact on our society. I strongly disagree, and for the fact that take for example McGill, all right, McGill. Take for example Twe, Samuel Twe. Samuel Twe in particular has his minor child who's supposed to have been a U.S. citizen banned from this country. All right, and that is as a direct direct result of that sanction. How is that going to impact her personal life, or her emotional state of mind, her psychological state of mind, her education, her health, and so many things you can go underneath that is not accessible easily in Liberia. You know, that comes to play. And let us not forget that the United States is by far one of the most sought after places for Liberians because of our colonial ties. A lot of people who are even in Liberia in government who own property here, and they have family members here, and they have some establishment here. So anything that threatens that, obviously will have some adverse effect or direct effect on them. So yeah, there will be some deterrence when it comes to that. But how Liberians at home utilize that assistance that the pressure from America brings to bear on our body politics is a whole different ballgame. And I think that's where our conversation should go to, as to how can we educate our people to not just be happy that America sanctioned a group of individuals in our country, but how can we ourselves see that as not just a shaming, but something for us not to even give them any space in our body politics and support them in the way that we see them support them. But again, we understand why that happened is as a result of poverty. Most of the time, people depend on these guys who are so-called millionaires in our country, the richest 1% in our country. So yeah, the willpower, the will money, and so they can easily, direct our people towards their interests. How that will change in the future, I don't have a magic wand to speak to that, but I think I would say in short, ULAA did a good job. I don't fault them for it. It's within the mandate. I think one of the mandate is advocacy. Another one is to ensure Liberia's future. So any steps that will contribute meaningfully to our body politics is encouraged from anywhere.
Mr. Gerald Gilman, your take on this ULAA position calling for sanction, given what we know happened in the lower house between now majority bloc and minority bloc?
Well, first, a disclaimer. I was once the administrative vice president for ULAA when I served with Mr. Waluba. So I want to categorically say here that ULAA, this is why the people have never taken us seriously. ULAA is bluffing. ULAA is taking a page out of Joseph Boakar's book. It's all about capturing headlines. I didn't see ULAA addressed a letter to either the Secretary of State or the President of the Republic or the United States and send a CC copy to the press. Maybe you have it, but we don't. And usually in American parlance, they say you ask for what, you get what you ask for. How can you write or appeal to the United States to put sanctions on people in Liberia? Who are the people? Why don't you go specifically and say, we as the representative of the people in the United States, we have done our homework And this is what we are asking for. And these are the proof. This is the evidence to back up our demand or what we have done. You expect the United States to go and do your homework to find out who is wrong and then impose sanction. This is fake news. These people want to get in the news. They know, you and I know from the very onset that Joseph Boyka was inept. Joseph Boyka knows what was going on. In fact, there was a young man on this show that called Joseph Boyka the Don. He's the mafia godfather who sits back and tell people to whack whomever he wants. And then when things go wrong, he throw them under the bus, as we are seeing today. Joseph Boyka sat with the folks, took Mr. Kofa to Rome. While he was in Rome, a coup was being staged here behind Mr. Fonati Kofa's back. And when he came, he sanctioned it positively. He signed the budget. He invited them to preside over his State of the Nation address. Joseph Boyka signed the budget. He did everything. Only tonight, now that the heat is on, to say he is innocent, he had no clue what was happening. This is the same playbook that ULAA is using. ULAA know who is culpable. ULAA know who did wrong in the country. Mr. Nangwe Ben here, he's been saying this for over and over. So how can he sit on this show and condemn Joseph Boyka for not acting right, rightfully so, and then as a group collectively, he allowed himself, an organization of which he is a part, to write a very vague letter. It's like a letter to whom it may concern. That's what this is. So let ULAA go and sit somewhere else. ULAA is not serious on this particular issue. They have vindicated those who have always said ULAA is a for nothing organization. We stand for nothing. In fact, we have caused most of the problem in Liberia, and this is a classic example of that. Thank you.
Mr. Namwe, you heard Mr. Gibman. I think he's ready for the debate. And guys are not ready.
Jerome, I have a lot of respect for him, but sometimes he's all talk. He himself, he belongs to a lot of Liberian organizations. Yeah, what have they done? He belongs to UNEBOA. That's the Bassa organization. What have they done? Let me finish. You
the one didn't bring that. You not
so
brought
I am looking for
Jerome. One at a time. You will respond, Jerome.
Give me a minute. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for the letter. I will send it to you so you put it in the chat room. First of all, our call was not only to the U.S. We call on the AU. We call on ECOWAS. Now, the imposition of visa restrictions and sanctions is a process. It takes investigation. But we're making it very clear that if the investigation shows X, Y, and Z are culpable, they should be brought to book. We're not making any distinctions. We're very clear on that. Now, what we've done, yes, he said we didn't write the Secretary of State. I'm not sure we did not, but I know we've written Congress people. I know, for instance, Jeff Van Drew here in New Jersey, where I am. We have an appointment coming up. So we're following through. It is a process. But look what this has produced. I'm not bragging or boasting, but where are we today? The president's finally making a turnaround. He's ready to talk to Kofa. What do you think is happening? These things are processes. At least we're doing something. And I've always said here, ULAA of the past several years is suffering a trust deficit. We get that. Jerome himself here, all of us here have invited her to come on board and help the organization. We're doing the best we can. Now, to sit here and say we're bluffing and doing nothing, what has he done? He works for the United Way. He works for a very powerful organization. What has he done? He, Jerome in particular. At least we're doing something. What can he show me that he's done? He was in Liberia recently. What did he do there? Nothing. Nothing. So we're sitting here and calling on our people, look, what you guys are doing is wrong. Cut it out. Try to work within the confines of the Constitution. We wrote the COGA, we wrote the 43. We wrote the president of Liberia. We wrote Speaker Kofa offering to come and mediate in the crisis. None of us picked us up. None of them picked us up. So now we know that they also ignored the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. If they can ignore those, why do we think they're going to listen to us? So that's why we thought to take it further. And we know who they listen to. And what are they doing now? They're listening. But this thing has to stop. Look, Liberia is a very rich country. It's a small country. we have a lot of resources. But look how poor we are. The 8th poorest country in the world because of the way we conduct governance. It has to stop. And I stand with Kofi. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. I hope at the end of the day, our people will realize that there is a constitution. You have to work within the constitution. We have to work within the law. That's the only way the society is going to function.
Thank you, Mr. Nambet. Jeroen, let me come back to you because you wanted to counter here. ULAA, at least in their judgment, Mr. Nambet said clearly, at least they are doing something. And he believes that as a result of their intervention, their advocacy, the president is having a rating here, and the entire so-called majority bloc is having what we call bias remorse here. You don't think so?
Hopefully, we will not sit here and allow ULAA to piggyback on and ignore two major events that happened in Liberia this week. One is the category or disgrace of the majority bloc in the Republic of Liberia at the ECOWAS convention. When ECOWAS met, they categorically denied the letter from this majority bloc and Joseph Boakai to recall certain people that were in ECOWAS. That was major. Immediately following that, the former president of the Republic of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, spoke and condemned the Supreme Court. I know you're going to get to that. The Supreme Court and everything else. So those two major factors. Now, ULAA want to claim victory. They want to claim that it was because of what they have done that the president making a U-turn.
No, we're not. No, we're not, Jerome. We're not.
Let him learn, Mr. Number. Give him a chance to learn.
I don't want to believe so. I think the pressure from within and from without, it is now coming together. And Joseph Boakai finally figured out. I wrote something brief on my page. I say Joseph Boakai have thrown Rachel Cohn under the bus, as he has always done in all cases when he denied he knew nothing about what happened. He threw him under the bus, and now Rachel Cohn and his guy will learn to know that Joseph Boakai cannot be trusted. And this is where we are. It is the pressure from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and ECOWAS that turned this thing around, and we are glad and happy. So anybody who want to ride the bandwagon and take claim, do so. But I think ULAA did not do us any favor. If ULAA was serious, they would have done their own report, their own investigation, and they will say our letter is predicated on our findings. But they are saying whoever is found, who is doing the investigation, why should they do it other than you who filing the claim? This is what I said. ULAA is here for bluff.
Thank you. And let me come to you, Father Washington, for your final on this, because we got to get to the other piece concerning Ellen Johnson Sirleaf here. ULAA letter, I want to know whether it precedes the action taken by the ECOWAS, because Mr. Nambwe indicated here that they also wrote ECOWAS. Mr. Nambwe? Let me get clarity from Mr. Nambwe first. Did your letter go before ECOWAS, before its decision?
I have to check the secretary, but even the letter that I just dropped in the chat room, we also, our call was not only to the U.S. as I indicated, and I was also, but I'm not sure if we did. I'm almost certain, but I have to take a look again. But I will not disagree with Jerome that what is happening, we're not going to be foolish enough to say it is not because of what we did. Absolutely not. But there is strength in numbers. It's a collective effort. That's what we're saying. At least something has been done.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Nambwe. So let me come back to you, Father Washington. You think ULAA action, known position now that they have communicated openly, do you think it's belated? This thing has been going on for over 3 months. And now they are coming up with a definite position on this issue. Has dogged the country for this long.
No, check the letter.
I'm asking Mr. Nambwe, Mr. Washington.
That was back in December. No, I got to make that correction. This letter we're talking about was back in December 9th. It's not today's letter.
Why is it getting attention now?
I have no idea. I will ask you, the press, but I just dropped that in the chat room. You can put it up on the screen. This is
Yeah,
back, and like I said, before even the Capitol building got burned.
Okay. All right. Let us welcome Dr. George Williams. Dad, welcome to Friday Night Debate. Please unmute them.
Hey, welcome. I'm happy to be here. Join the conversation. How's everybody doing this evening?
We're doing great, and we are happy that you have joined us. We are discussing, debating actually, serious issues here. So, Father Washington, at the end of the day, we have to come to a resolution on this thing because this is big. I have said that I can comprehend how the president appeared to not see the danger this poses to his administration. The first time the president spoke on this was in Sierra Leone, when he said, well, it's a legislative matter, they're going to resolve it. And, after these guys were hosted at a hotel for quite a long time. Report has said that the executive branch of government funded that whole thing that they were doing at the hotel. But that's another issue. Number is saying the president is coming around. Do you think he's actually coming around? Is he coming to realize that this was not good for the administration and this is not something I could just It is clear that the president supported Richard Coon. We've seen him with Richard Coon when the building got a fire, the Capitol got a fire, and many other occasions we saw this president sitting with the controversial and purported, they're calling him now purported speaker. Did he help to fuel this flame?
Mr. C, I mean, this is a clear manifestation of the kind of society that we have as Liberia, where a country where lies has become a disease, where criminals can just masquerade and do whatever they want to do, and that's exactly what we have. And it's so embarrassing our country to go through this. I mean, from the beginning to even find on the idea that other people will just come together, they get bribed, receive money just to remove somebody else from power, from authority, and nobody asks questions about it, and everybody's just doing it like it's a normal thing. There's no sense of remorse. That's the first thing from the first day when that thing happened that these legislators were accused of receiving money. That was the first place we should have started the whole thing, condemn it and start doing an investigation. But the fact that the establishment was behind it, there was no way they're going to question it. They were the one who were fueling it. They were the one who wanted it, and so they didn't ask any questions. But like somebody said, yeah, I'm glad that Fanati Kofa has stood his ground and he has gone to court and he want the process to be followed. I think that's the way to go. But it's very shameful, and I expect our president to be part of this thing. It's very shameful, but that's the thing the Unity Party wanted in the first place, and that's the thing they've gotten. So maybe it's got to a point now. Maybe even though I'm also hearing that all the president has called. He has called Fanati Kofa. What I'm believing is that probably they just want him to just compromise, give him some, say, oh, maybe you lost some, you lost some things along the way emotionally. We're going to give you some money, put it in your pocket, and just resign. Do I think that they're going to go back to session and he's going to preside and they're going to go through that process? That's not what I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't think that's what is going to happen.
And Dr. Williams, you follow this, and Focus on Liberia has been doing its part to report and discuss this and debate this. The simple question is, was this necessary at all? When you look at Fanati, he became a central speaker. Fanati was like almost with the president. And myself too, I was troubled by that. Why would the speaker be in a political love with the executive branch when he should be holding them accountable? We saw that. And he traveled with the president to Rome. They are neighbors. It's obvious Fanati wanted to be a consensus kind of building speaker. I don't know whether it had threatened the president or Unity Party as a political institution, for which they felt that they needed to remove him anyway. And now here we are. The simple question is, was this necessary? Changing Fanati will even bring out to anything meaningful in terms of governance at the legislative branch of government? Was this necessary?
Anthony, I wish I was a member of the United Party structure and had to answer this question, you know. But from outsider looking in, I would say clearly, what has it brought the United Party so far? Disgrace, a clear display of ineptitude, a lack of strategicness on the part of the government. I don't think, frankly, that the UP leadership has the sophistication to have put in place a game that would have brought it the dividends they thought it would. As a matter of fact, it's brought the direct opposite of what they had projected. Fonati seemed like a hero today. What is happening? All of these last-minute attempts to intervene is simply a last-minute effort to save face. Given the notice of the Supreme Court, I think it has shown clearly how unsophisticated the machinery of the United Party is, and for the Supreme Court, for the United Party to wait to hear the outcome of the March 14 meeting would be a slap in the face. It's already a slap in the face. Just the notice for this hearing on the 14th of March is already a slap in the face of the United Party, slap in the face of the Senate, slap in the face of the Justice Minister. And, you know, if the Minister of Justice had any level of credibility left, he should resign. Were I him, I would resign this minute, because what that notice from the Supreme Court has just done is to say to him that you clearly lack the integrity to be in that office. And that goes also to the Senate, who, instead of engaging and respecting the views of its chair on judiciary, thought to go along with what the Justice Minister's position was. And so they too bear some responsibility in that. And so it begs the question, was it necessary? Did they all have to be disgraced to getting us where we are? And so everything the executive is doing right now, meeting, is to save face. It's an last attempt to save face. And I think if Fonati is smarter than they are, and he has been so far, he will use this to his advantage. He will definitely use it to his advantage.
Thank you. Before we get to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf criticism of I think we can tap all in this, of the Supreme Court, that this is definitely not the time for ambiguous ruling, that is throwing the country in chaos. The matter was simple. The Constitution is clear. To remove a speaker, you need about 49 votes. You need 2/3. There was no 2/3. And so for the very Supreme Court to not have been so definite, definitive, someone will say, on this issue, they share a huge responsibility. But I actually want to see Dr. Pearson, what has this cost us as a country, looking at our governance? This chaos, this sheer nonsense, this display of utter, politics, so to speak, that does not benefit the country. What does it cost us? Well, what has this actually cost us as a nation? I mean, looking at the way our neighbor sees us and all that. I mean, see us.
I think, Anthony, thank you. I think the three things I can just list on the top of my head. One would be that the physical cost that we do see in the destruction of the Capitol building. That's a symbolic structure of our first branch of government and the center of our democracy. To have it get burned as a result of this impasse in the House of Legislature, that's in itself is sad for our country. So that in itself has some trauma attached to it. right, especially coming from a 14-year brutal civil crisis, also massive destruction of our country. Another thing I think it does to us is that it impinges our integrity in the international community, like you mentioned earlier, because first of all, when we boasted as a nation that we're putting a president into power who had 42 plus years of 40 plus years of political experience, one would not have thought that that would be the end result for stuff like this to have happened under his watch. And don't forget, his ushering to the presidency was came on the backdrop of the so-called incompetent individual, unlearned individual, unpatriotic individual, as they describe him, giving up power, which is not easily seen in Africa, to turn over power on the slimmest of a majority of a win in political elections. And so for former president, we are to have given up prior to even the final vote being counted in that level of maturity, and then to now see the 40 plus years experience individual cannot uphold that integrity of our democracy is sad for us. And lastly, I think we hurt the Liberian people. We hurt the Liberian people in so many ways. Take, for instance, we have a budget right now that does not represent the people's interest. We have a budget that was passed behind the doors of armed provided by President Joseph Yomon Boyka, executive branch of government, masterminded by a minister of justice who gave a misreading of the Supreme Court's opinion. And let me make this clarity, Anthony. The Supreme Court did not do anything wrong in their opinion. The Supreme Court opinion is not misleading. The Supreme Court opinion is as clear as day. What is not
President Sirleaf disagrees with you. She said it was ambiguous, or it is ambiguous.
So Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf expression, and I will be clear on this one, Mr. C. When she says it was ambiguous, it is not because of the legal terminology and ideology that is expressed. If you took that document or any sound legal luminary, they will tell you exactly what that document has said. It is plain as day. If you minority group, the Constitution provides for you to meet day after day, and if you don't have a quorum, you have to adjourn and meet again and find a way to compel your friends to come. But you do not have a legislation rather, or law that will tell you how to compel them to come. So go back and get that straight. I can't help you with that, because you came for interpretation. That's as much as I can tell you. You guys who have the majority, you say you have a quorum, your quorum is invalid in the absence of your speaker. That's why you elected your speaker to begin with. And if your speaker is not available, your deputy speaker, but if the speaker is present, you have to exercise that majority under his gavel. And there are rules in your house how to do that. So if the two of you go outside of this interpretation, you're functioning in any way outside of these two qualifications is out of bounds. It's ultra various. It's as clear as day. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf said it's ambiguous because in the Liberian poor mind, our level of literacy, so everybody wants to give their own interpretation to the law. And I think if ignorant to what the law expresses and violating the law does not excuse you from the fact that the law is clear. If you don't have clarity on the law, you go to someone with legal understanding to provide you guidance. If the president misleads you also, you still have, the president had the opportunity in the doctrine of coordination to have a conversation with the Supreme Court justices. Listen.
Are you suggesting the former president does not actually have a point here, knowing our society in terms of reading and understanding things, literacy and all that?
Mr. C, this is Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. If you went back to some of our press interviews, some of our president with the press situation, you will notice that Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had times she would speak simple English. Simple English means she talked to Liberian people in our regular street talk conversation. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I don't think she's intending to mean that the justices ruling or opinion is misleading. That's not, to me, that's not the idea. Ambiguity does not necessarily mean misinterpretation of the law.
Ambiguity means it's not clear.
Yeah, it is not clear to the ordinary people. But it's clear to anybody with legal understanding. If you talk about document,
does the Supreme Court rule for every librarian to understand, or does the Supreme Court rule for only people who are maybe highly educated enough, or maybe have understanding of legal matter to understand? Is it for everyone to understand, or just certain people to understand?
You know, this is how we answer you. If everybody could understand legal jargons and legal briefs, we not need lawyers. Let me tell you this: the briefs alone that lawyers are preparing to make arguments, or even the opinions on issues, they are not small documents, and they are entitled to the lingos. You cannot say because you have illiterate populace, so the Supreme Court should speak our local parlance in the opinion. That's not the case. That is. I don't see any contradiction in the Supreme Court ruling. I don't think Speaker Kofa saw any contradiction in our ruling either.
Thank you. Thank you. Jerome, coming quickly.
Yeah, Dr. Pearson, I have to disagree with you. In these United States and everywhere else you have been in the West, the Supreme, when the Constitution is written and as vague as it can be, the Supreme Court, the highest court, it is their duty. Okay, it is their duty to fill in the blank. It is their duty to bring us up to speed.
Listen.
This is why.
The Supreme Court does not fill in the blank. The Supreme Court why it's existing.
Yes, because in these United States, the Supreme Court has always said the intent of the original writers. That's what they say. That means they are now going to actually think what was the intent of the original writers of the Constitution.
And do you think that is missing in our opinion? You think the intent of the appeal from the minority is missing in our opinion?
No, it is missing. It is missing.
One at a time, Dr. Pearson, you spoke. Let give him a chance. Go ahead.
But what the question would have been, okay, to the learned people, what was the intent of the writers, the framers of the Constitution? That's why they get paid the biggest bucks in the country when it comes to the law. Their job is now to go back into the law. That's why it took them this long. And they went over briefs, and they went back to case laws. What was the intent of the original framework of the Constitution? Where there is a blank, where there is ambiguous, it is their job to say, this is what we are taking into consideration. The illiteracy and the literacy rate of our country, our people, the layman, and this is what the original intent would have been or is. But they didn't do that. And Mrs. Sirleaf addressed that. She says, this is in her lifetime, and she's much older than we all are, and she has gone through several Supreme Courts. This is the first time that the Supreme Court ruled, and 10 people came out with 10 different interpretations.
That does not make the ruling wrong, Mr. Gaiman. That does not make the ruling ambiguous. It's politicized.
It is ambiguous because it can be interpreted in several ways. Yes.
No, that's not true.
Thank you, Jerome. And hold on, Dr. Pearson, you made your point clear. I actually see your point, and that you are right, that it was not ambiguous. I understood it to not be ambiguous, but to how many librarians was it not ambiguous? The chief justices we have there, I mean, the justices we have there, they are civil servants. They are serving us. They're supposed to speak language that majority of us should understand. Look at what their ruling has cost us because of the ambiguity. It cost us our capital building to be burned down. It's cost us so much resources. You will argue that it has cost us to have an illegal budget. So many things it has cost us. And so they could have done better. And that's my position on it. Let me get to you.
Just 30 seconds. You see, let us get it right for the audience. It is not the ambiguity of the Supreme Court opinion that get us where we are. It's the misinterpretation of the opinion. It is the politicization of the opinion that got us where we are. If people have followed the law, and like Speaker Kofa did, if I have doubt about the Supreme Court opinion, that's why it is available in the law. you file motion for information. So you don't take the opinion and misinterpret it and use it to your advantage, and then you say the Supreme Court. No, that's not the side.
This, I said to you, I agree with you. For me, it was not ambiguous. But to many people, it actually was. And I also agree with that it was ambiguous to a lot of people. So it cost us a lot because it created opportunity for the political sides to seize on the movement and then come up with their own interpretation. The Supreme Court could have done a much better job. We are hoping that they're going to do that. And that's going to save us all this trouble. We didn't really deserve to go through this. All right, Mr. Namwe? Let's focus on solution now.
Yeah,
we have a resolution to this matter because March 14 is when the Supreme Court full bench is looking into Kofa Bay of information, meaning he's seeking clarity, clear-cut interpretation of what they actually issued the last time. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. Please let Jerome know he's on the phone that as he's getting more information, I'm actually agreeing with him. I think the Supreme Court should have been clearer. I will move on to solution, but let me be quick. Look, I myself, I was seeing it the same way. A friend of mine today in Canada, he actually pointed this out to me, and I was like, whoa, look, it is that you have two boys in your house and they're sharing one car between them. You agree, you two will drive this car 1 week at a time. But if there is cause, one is misbehaving with a car, we'll come right back here and decide what to do with it. One has the car in the middle of it, the other guy comes, he wants to take the car away without going through the process. Are you the dad going to say both of you are wrong? No. You're going to say you who trying to hijack this car in the middle of the arrangement, you're wrong. The Supreme Court could have said that. They did not. They contributed to this confusion. And then, of course, the Justice Minister came and compounded. Now, let me go to Mr. Lee. I am not a fan because I think she could have done a lot of good, but she did not. But we have to agree she belongs in a very select group, a former president. She knows what she's talking about. This president, and I maintain, this president had the capacity, he still does, to have brought this thing to an end a long time ago. He could have. You may wonder, there may be several reasons why he's doing it now. Maybe he's finally got what he wanted. But the point of the matter is he could have resolved this matter. We didn't have to come to this. So, but the solution is this. I'm happy. I understand he met with Kofa. He met with Kuhn. I hope there is a meeting to follow so that they can go in a room. Several people have said this. Gonglo is being the latest, that this president can call these two parties, the leaders of these two dueling parties, in a room and say, my children, this is not looking good. We got to solve this. We got to end this. He could have done it, and hopefully he's coming around to it. There is a solution out of this. There is a solution. If he doesn't succeed, then let's see what the Bill of Information is going to do. But I think he's coming around to agreeing that this really, the resolution is in his hands. This is a political thing. The court interpretation is there, it will help, but it is a political thing. It has to take the way of the president to tell the two of them, this is where we draw the line. And Mr. Kuhn, you are not the speaker because what you wanted cannot be gotten to you because you don't have the majority. Go back into the chambers and let's remove this speaker like the Lord said we should. I think that's the way forward. I don't see any other way. Other than that, will be perpetuating chaos.
To see, let me just ask Victor one thing. In your mind, do you think that the solution that might be coming, do you think in your mind, I mean, I don't expect you to know all the answers, but do you think that all the members of the House of Representatives are going to go back into the House, sit on the Speaker, Kofa, then asking to recuse himself? And do you, in your mind, you think that's what's going to happen?
Well, let me remind you, when the Supreme Court ruling was issued on December 6th, Speaker Kofa, he wrote a statement. At the end of that statement, he said he was prepared to discuss his transition. That is a word you're very familiar with, Dr. Washington. It means he was ready to exit. Look, here's how I see it. Yeah. The president can call the two of them in the room and say, Richie, Jonathan, we're going to go back. Jonathan, we're going to put you on the floor. This is what I want you to do. You will preside and recuse yourself, and we'll go through the process. Richard, relax. If Richard were to emerge after this, he becomes the speaker. What is important here, Dr. Washington, is to do this thing according to the law. That is not what they're doing. And what they have done.
What I'm sensing, I might be wrong, but what I'm sensing, that's Kofa is going to resign.
I think he will.
And they're not going to go back. They're not going back to redo the process. He's just going to resign.
Well,
I mean,
I think Mr. Namwe has answered your question. Let me come to Dr. Williams here. Dr. Williams, the focus now is solution. Any solution in this matter should be based on a law. It should be legal. The Supreme Court piece is very important. We hope we can get it out of these, hearing of Fonati's bit of information. And there's a political piece that now we talk about, which is also true. What you think is a perfect solution to this matter?
So before I go to the solution, which has become very obvious, this president isn't taking the initiative at this point because he's suddenly realized his role in the process, and he has the key to solving it. He's being forced to, as a direct result of the notice of information of the information citation that came out of the Supreme Court. So he's been forced to. He stands to lose more than anybody else, more than Richard Coon. The president stands to lose if by the outcome of the meeting on the 14th. And so he's against the wall right now. He's pushing the pen to in his favor and hoping that Fonati will resign. That's the hope. Which is the most reasonable, well, not reasonable, but the most feasible way out of this, so much so that the executive has an opportunity to save face, and that will be by Fonati resigning beforehand. There's going to be lots and lots of concessions made to force Fonati, to put Fonati in a position where he resigns before the 14th. The second solution is that, like Sanangwe said, that the House will reconvene. They would do it, which is also a win-win situation.
Mr. Williams, may I interject here? This whole resignation thing was sought by the Unity Party. Not too long ago, they tried to convince Fonati, the era was they tried to even pressure him to resign, because for them, that would have been the easier way for them to get what they wanted. Once Fonati was out, it was going to be easy. Fonati said, no, I actually don't think that Fonati is going to resign yet. When Fonati sees a big window of opportunity to emerge at Victoria, why would he want to resign? Because when they go back to status quo ante, they have to sit under his gavel. Now, these guys, the so-called majority bloc is getting politically deflated. In fact, there's leadership crisis in their midst. The sedition may come back home. Fonati emerges. So I don't see how he resigns.
Yeah, but the thing also is like...
Two things that can happen.
Dr. Williams is on the floor, please. Go ahead, Dr. Williams.
Two things can happen. Fonati, with or without the following of his colleagues, could resign or recuse himself. Let's use that word. Recuse himself when plenary is called. Recuse himself and put his foot back in the race to recontest the position. That's an option he has. The law does not take it away from him.
To recontest what position? He's still speaker. He has not been removed legally or constitutionally.
What I'm saying, he will, if by the law, they sit under his gavel and he recuses himself and a petition is carried out and he's voted out, the law does not recuse him from recontesting.
That is
He's not barred from recontesting.
I agree.
Yeah. As you said, and you're very right, there is an issue. The government itself has realized that Richard Coon is not an appropriate person to lead or replace Fonati Kofa. He does not have the wherewithal, the sophistication, the leadership, the moral rectitude to lead and sit in the position as a new speaker. Just within the few days he's purported his purported speakership, and the damages to the party and leadership in the House that has been experienced shows clearly that Richard Coon isn't in the best place.
And violence being sanctioned by him also. Add that there, Dr. George. Violence being sanctioned by him.
Yeah, and so that's a problem. That is a problem for the party. That's a problem for the legislature. And that has placed Fonati Kofa in an even better position. Had Richard Cohn done a better than expected job, yeah, Fonati would have been in a position where he would just pack his bag and go. But Richard Cohn has done enormously. He's gone wrong in terms of his leadership, his ineptitude. He's gone wrong totally. Every move by Richard Cohn was an attempt to seek validation, and that hasn't helped. It has even worsened the party's position, not just in the legislature, in the House, and we see by extension what it has done to the Senate. The Senate itself is affected by this poor leadership of Richard Cohn. So Fonati Kofa is in a very good position. I am hoping that he wouldn't resign, that this process will go to plenary, and so that he retains the heroic stance he's taken. I think it's all about the rule of law. I will hail Fonati Kofa for standing up for the rule of law. Fonati Kofa for speaker doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But I will hail him for standing up for the rule of law. And it shows clearly the lack of leadership, lack of sophistication from the president. The president is simply trying to save face. He's simply trying to save face. And if it goes the way it's going, the president might just, that will cost him and his vice president the future.
Mr. C.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Your final 30 seconds on this.
Yes. Look, when the American politician says you are snatching defeat from the jaw of victory, this is it. Okay? The gentleman said, I am willing to go into the well of the House. I will recuse myself. Mr. Thomas Fowler will chair. And if you want me out, I will exit according to the numbers. What difficult about that? Now, I was listening to Musa Ability 4 months ago. He said, if this thing plays, if Joseph Walker allowed this to play out, I may just be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. And today, I listened to him on another show. He met with the president, and the president was basically on his knees, told Mr. Fonati Kofa, go and write me a solution that is acceptable. He didn't say, he said, you go and write a solution that is acceptable. So Fonati Kofa left there buoyant. And smart as he is, I will suggest, and I know he's going to say, I don't need much, all I need will be let us convene, I will recuse myself, and whatever happens, happens. And that would be status quo ante. Fonati wins. He's a hero. The boy from Southtown, from the Southeast, has shown these boys how it is done. And for me, I was not a fan of his because he was one Liberty Party man from Bassa. Then he switched to Unity Party. When Unity Party left, he switched to CDC. When CDC left, he was about to switch back to Joseph Walker when this thing happened. So, but at this point, Fonati Kofa is the biggest dog in town. I think it's not even German Shepherd. He's a raw waller. I'm talking about the one that is going for the kill. So,
see, I just want to interject before we go to it.
Yeah, go give your final thoughts on the.
Yeah, the thing is that, I mean, looking at everything that has happened and the role that the president and the Unity Party has played, do you think in your mind that they will sit there, agree to a solution that, oh, we're going to follow exactly what Kofa tells us to do? That's what we're going to do. They're not going to do it.
It's the law. It's not Kofa, the law.
Come on, Jeremy. What law? You're speaking about a country that you're speaking about things that you already know that's happening. What was the law when they took over from there?
The law still stands.
Come on. Yeah, you know sometimes when you say things like that, is that if Kofa said I wanted to go back to where we were and I'm going to sit, and they don't want to do it, Kofa is not going to win.
So, Father Washington, what is your take as to what happens last? What do you think going to happen?
No, my take is that what I would demand Kofa do is to make sure that the people declare that they did him wrong, that they stole this speakership from him, and then he resigned. I mean, that's the way, because if you are a leader and you have no following, you're just taking a walk. And in this case now, he has gotten to the point that just leave the stage, because probably everybody knows that you have been treated wrong. Just leave the stage, and that's the way to do it. Because that's where, but if he say he wants to insist and stay, want to go back, like, and still want to be a speaker, preside, and recuse himself, and then let him go back, for me, I think that's a waste of his own time. So I would just say, everybody knows that they've done you wrong. Everybody knows that this thing was masterminded by the President Unity Party. This is the time now to say, hey, you done me wrong. The Supreme Court, or you have come back to me and begged me for forgiveness. This is time for him to say, okay, I'm going to resign. I'm going to move on.
But Dr. Washington, Father Washington, may I remind you when Kofa was in a much
Mr. Nawe, that will be your final thoughts on this, sir.
Thank you. Now, I was going to remind us when Kofa was in a much weaker position, he was pressured by this president to resign. And he said he wouldn't do it. How much more about when he's in a much stronger position now? You think he's just
what are you calling stronger?
Oh,
the fact
do I have to spell it out?
The fact that he's been called to be talked to, that he's got a stronger position.
The fact that we're let's just leave all of that.
But it might not be a stronger position. It might be like we're trying to find a solution. We insisting that the way to find a solution is to let you resign, and you still have your respectability, and that's the way to go.
I think any other solution other than
you give your final thoughts. Let Nawe give his final thought. This is a debate.
I think any other solution other than the way Kun wanted it done plays to Kova's favor. Any solution right now, other than if he succeeds in reversing what is happening now, I think he's much stronger.
Father Washington, you gave your final position. Nawe is giving his. We have another issue to go to.
Because he was trying to say that the point I'm making, he's saying he's calling it a stronger position, but I don't see it as a stronger position.
And that's the essence of the debate. He doesn't see it that way. It's okay. Go ahead, Mr. Nawe, your final thoughts.
I'm done, Mr. Osir. Thank you very much. I was just saying that I think the whole option of Kova resigning, I'm not sure. I like what Wallo is putting in the chat here. Maybe a solution might be a third person other than Kofa and Kun. But what Kofa has been pushing for, which I think he will still maintain, is come into the plenary, put a resolution on the table, and unelect me. That's what the law says. Anything short of that will not be a win for Kofa.
I can see that.
Thank you, Father Washington. I enjoyed the debate. Dr. Pearson, our new progressive commentator, you have the final word on this issue. What you think the solution, how you think the solution looks like?
In the word of the idealist, and someone will say you're not being practical, but in the word of the idealist, when you stand up for a cause and take it to the end of the line and cross the winning line, you are the victor. And those who did not win the race will have to fall back in line. It's as simple as that. You try a coup, the coup did not work, you fail, you fall back in line. You come back to work. If we go on the 14th and the Supreme Court makes it clear that Speaker Kofa is still the Speaker of the House of Representatives and that those guys acted unlawfully, contrary to the opinion of the Supreme Court, Speaker Kofa is everything that the executive have done will be reversed. Will definitely be reversed, and we will see to that. I'm not boasting, but we will see to that. And let me say this. I think this is what I see happen. Speaker Kofa is not going to resign unless, and I close on this, Anthony, unless they use the capital fire as a blackmail against Speaker Kofa and purport that they have evidence against him to indict him and convict him and send him to jail, and then tell him on the basis of his resignation that whole idea about the capital fire will be toast. That will be another blackmail that they do with the central bank and they do with LTA, and that will be wrong for Liberia. We want our children and our children to see tomorrow that someone stood up for the Constitution, someone stood up for the rule of law, and the rule of law prevailed, and they must be given their flower by their victory. And so we're watching the process.
And so, talking about watching the process, that would take us to the next issue on the menu, which is highly political as well. The topic, Citizen Movement for Change launch. CMC, the acronym meaning Citizen Movement for Change, has been launched. It's a new political party. Its political leader is Save Musa Hassan Berete, a businessman and a politician in Liberia. He has been around. He's been close to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. He used to be very close to the late Councillor, what's his name, Brunskin. Musa has been close to President Weah, another political actor in our country. I mean, if you look at our past, big political players, Musa has been in their political confines. The only political player, from my observation, he's not been close to that much, is our current president, Joseph Yimambuaka. This might be a political opportunity, but others see it differently. We will come to this particular menu. It is juicy politically. But before then, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This debate is just getting started.
Our country, sweet Mandela, our country, that God gave all this country. That God gave all this country. We are calling on everyone here to come and pray for this country. Liberia, God gave all this country.
Indeed, fellow Liberians, God gave us this country. We have a responsibility to make it happen. Politically, we must get it right. In terms of governance, we must get it right, and that is the responsibility we share. We have to execute this responsibility, not only collectively, but individually. And we must do so with credibility and character. Gentlemen, we are back to the debate, and I'm sure you are enjoying the debate. The next issue on the menu, and Dr. Williams, you're going to get us started here. You are an educator, a social and political commentator. Commentate this thing for your Peking. You have a new political party, young brother. Musa Bedete is the head. What you think is Musa up to here? Do you see prospect here? Is this going to help to diversify the political landscape going forward and even now? How you see it? Give it to us.
So I have been my role as a young man in as far back as 1985 and fast forward into my transition to the U.S. in 2010. I have had a key part in terms of studying the political landscape over that period. A focus of that time has been spent on studying key participants in the process. Over the years, Mr. Bility his track record is visible to the public. Mr. Bility and I go back as far as the Liberia Football Association is concerned. You left out one of the names, Anthony. Mr. Bility was also close to Dr. Sawyer. As a matter of fact, that is where he actually gained his traction with Dr. Sawyer, and thereafter he gained the notoriety he's gotten. Musa has been a man capable of making connections in high places. What he's never been capable of doing is keeping a fiscal responsibility wherever he's gone, and that has cost him in so many ways. Now that he's a member of the House representing Nimba County, that is a shift from other areas he's played a key role in. Politically, I do not see how his current chairmanship of the CMC could shift the variables on the political landscape.
Is that chairmanship or political leadership?
Regardless of what position he plays, I think personally, he cost Mr. Cummings the elections in so many ways. I didn't think Mr. Cummings could win, but he cost Mr. Cummings at least a position in the third place because of his presence on that ticket. His divisive leadership cost Liberty Party her role, her place in the Unity Party ticket as well.
The Cummings not cost himself losing the presidency? You think Musa share anything in that?
That's a debate for another day. But for me, Billity's presence on a Cummings ticket, on a Cummings campaign, cost Mr. Cummings his endearment to the likes of myself.
How so?
I felt that Cummings' ignorance of Liberia and Liberian society, its politics, was made glaring by his affiliation and marriage to Musa Bility in those 2023 elections. I thought he didn't understand, and it validated that he didn't understand where he was. You cannot pick one of the worst personalities in the country economically, physically, and when I mean physically, to lead your campaign. You can't do that. And so Cummings wasn't calculating, and he lost woefully to who? And Edward Appleton, one who was barely known on the political landscape, barely had performed. Edward Appleton from Cathedral, I got to know him through my foster brother. Appleton had never really campaigned. I only heard Appleton's name. This is a guy I know. He's like a colleague. I found out Appleton was on the ticket on the announcement of the results. At the announcement of the results, this is supposed to be a friend that I know. I knew nothing about him. How did that happen? Because a lot of people saw Mr. Cummings as a fool to have gone to forge a marriage with Mr. Bility. And so Mr. Bility forming a political party today, where is it going?
Do you think that is another blow to Mr. Cummings? Do you not see that Musa Bility is solidifying his political capital so that in the future he can bring that capital to his good friend, Mr. Cummings? I think they had a very good relationship.
Mr. Cummings would be a fool to jump on that wagon again. He would be a fool. If he was smart, as people claim he is, I question his intelligence. I question his not his intelligence, but his acuteness when it comes to politics in Liberia.
Are you sure it's acumen or his political decision making?
His acumen. His political acumen is low.
Oh, I thought you said acuteness. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mispronounced it. His acumen is low because all of us on this platform, had we the resources or not, and we had an opportunity to go into politics, Musa Bility 1,000 times over would not be the one leading our campaign. Never. Because his records don't attract political capital to you. It only takes away.
Is it more about what you consider his record or the person Musa Bility?
Both.
And so can you conclude on the political partner that Musa has funded? Does it have a future? Do you see a future in this political party?
Listen, part of my work was back in 2005 up to 2007 was working with political parties. I was there when, for example, Charles Bromstein had 5 parties registered for the 2005 elections, and it ended up with Liberty Party being his vehicle. To date, there are over 20 political parties, but for 3 or 4, I'll push it. But for 5 political parties, the rest are clinically dead. They're only entities during elections, and people come like we got the FDR led by Fire Bully. That political party only surfaces during elections. It has no political life other than during elections, and so it's going to be the same with CMC. CMC is built around the pockets of Musa Bility. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not an institution. Our political parties aren't institutions. I know you're in speech and we have to get to the others here, but your expose is begging some questions from me. Musa, if you look at him,
you know him, the players he's been with, his savviness of the political culture in Liberia, and he also has a base. More than that, he possesses enormous capital, and politics become attractive with money. Money is actually power, and he has it. And you think he's not going to move the needle in anywhere?
I answer your question. Where's Mr. Cummings today? He has the money. He has so-called had the popularity. Where is he?
One thing, because he went to the wrong player, maybe.
Exactly. And unknown like Appleton.
No, I'm saying that Musa might have gone to the wrong player, meaning going to Mr. Cummings, who politically has not been attractive to the Liberian people. Maybe that was a wrong calculation. Maybe if he had gone somewhere else, he would have put the victory along with that person.
Musa Bulete has all the political capital, the economic capital as you speak. Why does Musa need a new political machinery to drive on?
To get more political power. That's my answer.
He had it. He had it in the Liberty Party.
I said more of that.
How much more can he have?
As much as he can get until he nests the presidency, until he nests the speakership, and maybe until he becomes senator. You know, politicians, this is what they do.
I do not underestimate that Musa could become the next speaker. I do not underestimate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not underestimate that. But politically, erecting a viable political structure, Musa is not capable of that.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you. Let me not have the others watching. This is Mr. Namwe's area, so I'm going to come to you. You, along with your big brothers in the progressive movement, fought for multi-partyism. This is your trump card. This is your victory. This is your accolade. So I'm just curious, what is your impression now that we have a new political party on the block, headed by Musa Bility as its political leader? Is this something you are excited about, given that you fought for that kind of freedom, participatory democracy, parties, should have the free will to contest?
Well, excited to the extent that this multi-party democracy is being tested almost every day. The fact that Musa could have gotten in probably less than 5 days and registered a political party. We tried to do that with I'm sure Jerome will remember, 1979, after the rice disturbance, we tried to register the PPP from PAL, and we got challenged in court. It was unheard of. So yes, the fact that Musa is able to anybody can get on and register a political party, I think it's a good thing. But of course, we champion multi-party democracy, but not this multiplicity of parties. I think it is not healthy for the democracy. But hey, it's a democracy. I think they're putting safeguards in place now that will try to kind of streamline the process. For instance, you have to have $10,000 in your account every September or so. There's an inspection. Some of the parties are falling, because of that. Also, there are restrictions. I think you have to attain a certain percentage during a particular election, or the next election you'll be forced to sit it out. So they're trying to streamline it. But yes, anybody's entitled to register a political party. I think that's part of the process. That is good. But let me say my own take on Billy. I met Billy only once. I don't know him, so I know him from a distance. And again, Billy was not a member of ANC. He was a CPP man, but he came from Liberty Party. Now, the Liberty Party, as we know, was split down the middle. Kanga Lawrence took a piece of it. He took a piece of it, and I think he struggled to put that together. Now, I will make a prediction. I believe Musa Ability CMC will fizzle before 2029. I don't see Musa. I think Musa is out for a short-term game. He's a strategist from what I've seen him from a distance. I think he's consolidating to make a move. Maybe the speaker position, somebody mentioned that earlier. But I don't think he intends to run for the presidency. And I believe, if you listen to him today earlier,
so remember the question is why not? He's a Liberian, qualified.
Well, politics.
Why to do so?
Politics is not all about cash, Anthony. It's also about numbers, the ability to gather numbers.
I'm speaking to his right to do so as a citizen.
He has a right to do so, but is there a pathway for him to the presidency? I am not certain as of now, for several reasons. But I think right now what I see him trying to do is there is a jockeying for the godfather of Nimba. There is no wonder why he went to launch his party in Nimba instead of anywhere else. Of course, I think he's trying to fuel a candidate for this upcoming senatorial by-election. So yeah, he's preparing himself for something. I think he has an end game in sight. If you notice today, the interview he granted, he refrained from discussing his relationship with Alexander Cummings. He refrained from discussing what is going to happen beyond, the senatorial by-election. So I think it is a short-term strategy on his part to attain certain things, and I believe eventually he's going to align himself with one of the major parties, whether it be CDC or ANC or whatever it is, because the fact of the matter is some of his membership is being drawn from the ANC. Some of the ANC members are coming in to help him out. I think there is some kind. I was an advisor for the CPP. I'm not an ANC advisor, so right now I don't know exactly what is going on. But I think he's playing a short term. He's making a short term play, and once he attains that, I think he's going to endorse one of these major parties.
And finally, Mr. Nabe, at the launch was your progressive brother, somebody that I admire, Tiawan Gonglo.
Yes, I did see him.
Strange, I noticed he did not go with his broom for the first time. Mr. Gonglo came to America here. I interviewed him in Brooklyn Center, and he had his broom in his hand while I was conducting the interview. Everywhere Mr. Gonglo went, he went with his broom. He went to California. He went with his broom. My understanding, at some point, he went to even the State Department. He went with his broom. Now, at Musa Bedete's party's launch, I heard from people that he went without his broom for the first time. And as I saw him, I did not see the broom. Maybe he had it somewhere lying on the floor. Why?
Far from me to conjecture what that may portend, but I tell you this. Look, first of all, this lifetime judgment that we seem to impose on people, I think we need to refrain from it. Even the Bible believes in second chances. I know people have all kinds of description of Musa ability. Like I said, I know him from a distance. But if a man says, I am sorry, or is ready to make penance, and Father is here, if he's ready to be forgiving. Andrew Cuomo, for Christ's sake, is running again in New York for office. I mean, you pay your dues, and I think you should be given a second chance. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If the people believe Musa is ready for office, I think he should be elected for office. I don't think because he was this 2 years ago, whatever it is, so he's forever condemned. Yes, Tiawan is from Nimba, and Musa is from Nimba. Tiawan is a leader from Nimba. Musa is a leader now from Nimba. I think there's nothing wrong with showing unity amongst the Nimba brethren. As to why he didn't have a broom, I have no idea. I don't believe he carries that broom everywhere. I mean, I think he chooses when and where to take it with him. It could very well be he lost it. Maybe he couldn't find it on that. I don't know. But I think it's not a bad thing that he was there when Musa went to launch his CMC. Sure, it's support. I'm sure, we all appreciate it.
Tiawan is close to us here. I will try to reach out. I will ask that question, why he did not go with that room. And he knows that when he comes here, we're going to ask that question. Mr. Goodman, any reason why this legal luminary, advocate for the rule of law, the man of integrity, will not go with this broom? Because I thought he could have carried the broom with him, that the political party that has been established today, we want to sweep any corruption that might want to come here. Why he didn't go with the broom? Do you have an idea?
Well, that broom was overworked during the campaign for a whole 2023, 2022, all the way up. So the broom he needs a new broom. Maybe not that one, he needs a push broom. But the Musa ability thing, anybody who underestimates Musa ability is doing that at their own peril. Remember what we say in politics, right? Politics is all about momentum and opportunity. Now, in Liberia, if you were to speak to 3 different people, they will tell you, we are willing. This is what people have told me personally. We are willing to let CDC go on its side and take a little rest. We are willing for Unity Party to go on its side and take a rest. Let somebody else come in. Let's see. We have tried CDC. We have tried Unity Party twice. We need something different. I think Musa Bility got his ears to the ground. He's listening to this. And to make matter even stronger on his behalf, he had two things that Gonglo doesn't have. Gonglo does not have a constituent. When you go to Nima County, Musa Bility has a constituent that elected him to the House. Gonglo has never been elected to any office. He doesn't have that. Second, Musa Bility has the capital.
Are you talking about political office? Because he was elected as the head of the bar.
Oh, no, come on now. The bar are moderate people there. We are talking about a base. Okay. So Musa Bility has the political capital and the financial capital to do whatever.
And he was also elected as a candidate for president by his party.
Yeah, that's his party. We talk about the people that have the power. So here we are. Musa Bility uses his base, and now he has been catapulted to the highest office among us, the direct representative of us. The man is in the House. And he may most likely, if things fall the way we are saying it's going, he may most likely be the next Speaker of the House. So this man has a plan. He has divided the nation into 4 regions. And they have come up with plans. And they have the capital to go into it. He's saying we are not using T-shirts and rice anymore. We are going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars in these districts directly with the people. And he gave why he's doing it, how he has done it, where it has worked. He called it political best practice. So you're talking about men with a plan. Do not underestimate Musa Bility. Musa Bility has something that nobody else has. He has a plan. He has the know-how. He's very shrewd. He's a businessman. And he has a lot of cash. A lot of it.
Yeah, and I think what he expressed there, looking at the country, I mean, I was there twice just last year, and I'll be going back there. You have to invest. And this is something Mr. Cummings did not do. Mr. Cummings was just making donation here and there. But directly, investing in communities, business venture that the people will benefit from directly can make a huge difference. And that's why Musa is saying, look, I will start businesses in no area that the people will benefit from. Almost like trying to find, some form of employment for them, and empowering them directly. It's an investment that can pay off, because I'm not sure if anybody has done that kind of strategic political move. But I think we'll see how it will play out. That's a strong
correction, Mr. Sia. Mr. Cummings he's tried 2 major businesses in Liberia. He would say that all the time. One of them failed, but one is flourishing. I can tell you.
And he said he would not tell anybody what that actually is, right?
He won't, but I can tell you what I know. He has.
How does he accrue the political dividend? You are a politician and you're hiding what you're doing that you think is good for the people. I mean, Mr. Cummings is a different person. He sees things differently. I get it. But in politics, visibility, Mr. Number, you would tell me, is key. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Fellow Washington, let's get your take. The new party, any future in this party? Will it move the needle? Is it a good thing?
Mr. C,
I'm sorry, I disappointed Wally. He wanted me to say it, but I won't say.
I mean, I don't know, but what I'd like to say is that every Liberian has the right, the leverage to take part in this country's political activities, and I applaud this ability for establishing a political party and become the leader. But whenever I see things like that happen, I just cry for our country. When these political rascals, people like Musa Bility, criminals like Musa Bility, who, when Liberian people were struggling, people were dying during Ebola, and the FIFA gave him money to come and help the people. to save lives. And this guy's mismanaged or stole this money, and he was found guilty. And he was banned for 10 years. This is the man who still has this very money. Now he's coming back again to form a political party and just lavishes money for the people so that he can become their leader. Is that the kind of country we want? I mean, that's a sad thing. That's why poverty would never leave that country. Because the very people who steal from the people, they take the very money they stole from the people, come back to the same people, and pretend that they are the savior of the people, wasting money instead of doing good things where they're already stealing from the very people. So when I see people like Musa Belete coming out and talking about you're going to create a political party and they're going to do something different, I just feel sad for our people. I cry for our people. Because that's what will keep happening in that country. When the very political rascals keep stealing from the people, when they keep turning that money to be able to get to where they want to get. So for me, I mean, he has the right as a Liberian to form a political party. He has the right to do whatever he wants to do. And the very people that he's going to use the money might follow him. But it just, what it tells me is that that's what our country is going to be. Every time we're going to have this kind of people coming back again to keep using the people and keep stealing from people, and they'll keep going to poverty and poverty and poverty all the time. And that's our country just going to be like that. Because you don't want ethical people, you just want people who keep stealing. And that's the kind of people that the country wants.
So, Father Washington, let me pull it to you this way for you to debate further. Assuming all you said about Musa past is accurate, and let us also say Musa says, oh, look, I may have done wrong. I'm not saying this is what he's saying. And I'm a changed man now. I've learned from whatever mistake I make. I'm just painting a scenario. I'm going to be a better person this time. Musa, I would say from a distance, he has a good heart because I heard a lot of things he's doing. He's investing in our country and so on and so forth, even though he's making money, but other people are getting employed. That's a good thing. And I read the Bible. We heard about Saul, who became poor. He was vicious. He persecuted the church. And then he became a champion of Christianity, of the gospel of comrade Jesus. And he did so much good. So many books to his name today. Are you saying that whatever Musa might have done in the past disqualify him from being a good person today and tomorrow and to do good? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
If Musa wants to be a good person, the way to go is to come clean, say, I stole from the people. This is what I stole from you. This is the money that I stole from you. And I'm going to use that very money to go to the prison compound, to go to these places and I'm going to do reparation for what I've done to show to you that I stole from you. He has to come out and say he stole from the people. To just come there and say he's this new person that has changed, that's not the way it works. These are all scams. But Musa was in the building breaches and the very money they stole from the people. And what they're trying to do, just trying to appeal people so people can say,
and for watching the other question here, how do you know, how can you tell that whatever money Musa has used to construct bridges and other projects he's done, actually having to be money he stole? He's a businessman.
I just told you that in 2019, the Ebola money that was given to Musa Belete that he misappropriated, that he stole, Musa Belete was found guilty, including drug-related offenses. He filed appeals in the same 2019, and again he was fined and he was banned for 10 years. This is not his money. These are people who were dying. He drew the Ebola money that was given to FIFA to him.
All right. Thank you, Father Washington. This is Friday Night Debate, and we are debating the issue. Our new progressive commentator progressively commented on the new political party's future. Is Musa the right guy to lead a political party? And is there a future with the party given Musa savviness in political dealings in Liberia?
Thank you, Anthony. So the last time I checked, it was McGill that said if you stole and you use it for the Liberian people, it was a good thing. And then it was, the last time I also heard was President Boyka who said, I say you shouldn't steal, but when you steal, you use the money on the Liberian people.
I just knew you were going to say that.
Right. So listen, I agree with Father Washington. There's lots morally that we can question our political leaders about. But I would diverge a little to another angle, and there's where I want to come from. When our Liberian Civil War was nearing its first conclusion in 1990, before 1997 elections, we did see a faction of our warring factions. One of our warring factions split into two: Ulimo K and Ulimo J. And the K was for the Crown group, and then the J was for the Mandingo group. All right. I think no, the K was, I think the K was for the Mandingo group and the J was for the Crown group, Johnson and Nkrumah. And Nkrumah managed to have organized the ARCOP that we have today, the All Liberian Coalition Party. All right. So that ARCOP today has been gaining gravity in Liberia gradually. I think in 1997 they got 2.4% of the votes. In 2005 they got 2.8% of the vote. And lately they have gotten in this going election 2023. They skipped 2027. In 2023 they got this going 2020 they got 1.96% of the vote. And for that reason, and the performance this gun election, you can see the number of our brothers and sisters from the Mandingo ethnic background level of involvement in our party politics right now as we speak. I think Musa brings a capital to that demographic, and I think what Musa party is going to do is going to expand the base of that demographic, because Musa is not only going to attract the Mandingo ethnic group to the party politics that he's going to play, he's also going to chop off of the group from Nima County, be it Gio, Mano, whatever other groups that you will have there that will be sympathetic to him. Someone said they have not seen anyone who made such a pivot before. Don't forget, Edwin Snow was representative first in District Number 6 in Painesville City, there, District Number 6 along the RI Highway. And then when he lost favor with that constituents, he pivoted over to a bombing where he went and made a big farm, all right, and employed a lot of people. And the people got happy with him, and he said, I'm from this side too. And then he got elected as representative from that end, and that's where he's still residing right now. He invested in the people, like you said, Anthony, and they rewarded him for his investment. If anyone is trying to overlook Musa's ability, they should think twice.
Snow isn't senator. Or are you saying
Snow won as representative, and then he contested later on as senator?
Thank you.
So what I'm trying to go for
and
Musa,
don't forget what's the guy Thomas Fowler? That's the same. Go ahead.
Yeah, for Musa to have even gone without any strong political history, to have gone to Liberty Party and dominate a daughter of Charles Bromskin in person of Yomnikanga Lawrence, who was literally politically reared by Bromskin, overpower in a party, tells you how much a technician he is, political technician he is coming to this game. And so I would not overlook Bility. I think Bility is an extension of the ARCOP and that ethnic population. And I think Bility is going to expand our base. And the next time we see our Mandingo brothers and sisters engaging and strengthening themselves for elections next year, in addition to his cash, like Evans is saying, we're going to see a force to reckon with. I know that he has the support of Amara Conan, and there are a few of them. If I'm there, let me just stop from calling him before it sounds so racist from our African standpoint, tribal. But we all cannot dispel the fact that tribal politics play a role in Liberia. So if Bility can wrap a good belt around the waist on Nima and line it up with the Mandingo ethnic group and revitalize that base, we're looking to see pretty soon our brothers on the other side of our biological divide coming to near power in the near future.
All right, thank you so very much. And as the debate continues, we will now try to invite the audience to participate. As you can see there, we have the number on the screen. Call the number 605-313-6004, and don't hesitate to enter the code 791403 # to be part of the conversation. That number is also posted in both Facebook and YouTube Live for you to grab it and make a call and participate in this exciting Friday night debate. Gentlemen, the final issue will be 1 minute each, and then we'll go to the callers. So please be very judicious with the time. We're talking about the judicial branch of government was not judicial enough. So please be judicious so we can run into any ultra virus here with this debate. The last issue is the American fire experts or investigators that were invited by our government did their investigation. In their investigation, they condemned the locals on the ground that they didn't do a good job. They were not equipped. They didn't have the training. They didn't have the sophistication and so forth. But then they came up with the same finding. They very unsophisticated, unequipped, not trained enough people came up with. My question here is, what was the goal of this other investigation? And is that going to make any difference in terms of finding a resolution to this fire investigation in Liberia? 1 minute each, and please be judicious. Don't be ultra virus. Let's start with you, Mr. Jerome Gamer. I know you're good with time. You are on time today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think these fire people, first of all, they are not experts. They are retirees. They are consultants. They are business people. They are there to make money. So they didn't come in the capacity of a particular fire department. They are consultants. They did not come as independent. The Liberian police said it. They are not doing an independent investigation. They are here at our behest to boost our investigation. So they were there for a reason. If you read the report, they will say they based on eyewitnesses they interview, but they never listed who those eyewitnesses are. That tells you this will not stand in the court of law, because if you're going to use this, everybody that was invited, that was spoken to, they all have to be listed in what we call discovery. So this was basically, I don't know what it is, but it stands no chance at all. It was basically just to buttress what Coleman is saying, that we got some white people that said the same thing we said. That's about it. Other than that, there's nothing else to it.
Mr. Namwe?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I partly agree with Jerome. First of all, I think the events that are occurring now may have overtaken the significance of all of this, because we know this whole fire thing was part of the package to pull Kuhn down. I mean, not Kuhn, but Kofa down. So, we'll see where that leaves. But look, the people came in here. They did not disguise their disdain. I don't even know why they came here. They condemned the whole country. Not that, what they said, some of it was not true, but they came here, did practically nothing, took the very report from the people they condemned, and whitewashed it, pun intended. But I think the final objective here was to tell the Liberian people, because as we've always said, there was already an objective in sight, a solution in sight to make sure what the president said on the money after the fire was true. So everything else leads to that declaration by the president. And these people just came to vanish whatever Koma and his people and the fire people said they were putting together and whitewash it. Then they would say, if the weapon said that, or my people that what the weapon say. But all of that, Vla.
So there was just to add a white people flavor to it, and
they just came to have a good time in a sunny Liberia and go back in the cold to Minnesota or Texas or wherever they came from.
And got paid too.
And get paid, yeah.
Yeah, and condemn our locals, but then come up with the same
condemn our locals
and use the very pieces of evidence gathered by the locals.
But I said, though, I glanced the report briefly and I was shocked. That building has no sprinkler, no smoke alarm detector, nothing. That building, I was shocked.
Well, the building in the yard, people using cutlasses to cut the grass. What do you expect? These people get millions every year. Dr. Pearson.
Yeah, Anthony, I think it was a missed opportunity. Some of us argued initially that it was important that looking at the gravity of such a situation would have immediately sought assistance from outside. Not that we so dependent on other people, but that's the right thing to do. The Liberian National Police were in charge of that property prior to the burning of it, looking at the tension that existed the day before. We had an ongoing conflict in the House of Representatives between two factions that have proven already to be violent from what we saw going on in the House. So I would have thought that an independent approach to the process would have been to our best advantage. However, we saw what seemed to appear to be a political maneuvering to just indict one group of the divide within the capital dispute. And then they dragged people to conclusion that it was arson and brought people to validate their findings. In the end, I just said they cooked the food and they brought people to come and taste it for salt. And that was it. I think it's a missed opportunity, Mr. C. And it's not going to help us in court at all.
All right. Dr. Williams, your take on the report by the fire chiefs that came from the U.S. Any difference it's going to make with the investigation? What was the point of inviting them anyway after, the locals came up with their finding?
Dr. Williams is frozen.
Yeah, Dad, are you hearing me? Did you hear the question?
A little bit. We're having fluctuations.
Okay, yeah. So did you get the question, or I should repeat it?
No, sir.
Okay, the question is about the fire experts, the fire chiefs invited by the Liberian government to look into.
Somewhere frozen or something.
Yeah, but just pay attention to me now. I'm asking your take on the fire chiefs. Okay. You still having connection problem, Dad?
We can hear you.
We are hearing you. Are you hearing me? Yeah, I think he's frozen at this point. All right.
Take him out.
Yeah, they've been taking off so he can come back. So for those who want to participate, the phone line is open. I saw someone on the line, but I think the person got impatient. Call 605-313-6004. Enter the code 791403 to join the discussion. We want to hear from you. We debated the issues, and we want to hear your side.
Let me just weigh in on this before we go to the callers, if I may.
Yeah, please. Mm-hmm.
Liberians, we are quite interesting people. I don't know what we want in our country, because every time we just keep kicking the cans down the road. Mm-hmm. When the police came out with the report, or when the president did say the first time that there was an arson attack, everybody said, "Oh, how did he know that?" And these are not experts. These people from the fire service. What do they even know in the first place? And they didn't even want to believe the report from our Liberian fire service people. Mm-hmm. Now, and they were all advocating for independent people to come and give something and give a report. Independent people can't give a report against. Oh, what makes them different from the one that people already gave? What do we really want in our country?
No, that was
what do we really want?
No, Washington, this was not independent.
Hold on, Jerome.
Listen, you spoke here, I listened to you, you didn't listen to me. I don't know what we want in our country, because we don't want to solve any problem. I mean, I think that report was very good. What is established was that what we wanted to know in the first, because even some people at the onset said that it was not even something that was done by individuals. It was something probably might be caused by fire. How do they even know what's done by individuals? Or why didn't you call the people, the majority black? Why are you calling the other people? Don't this not matter? That established first. Was this done by the individual, or was this done by electrical fault? If we establish that was done by electrical fault, can we find the people who did it? And but I don't know what we want in our country, because every time we just keep kicking the can down the road. Or these people, the first place, they are not experts, or they just came here to just make money. Come on, what do you guys really want in our country? Do you want to solve the problem with that country? Or we just want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again? It's so sad when I yell at words when we speak sometimes because we don't know what we want.
Thank you, Father Washington. Jerome, you had a counter, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, you usually when they say independent, the Republic of Liberia will usually appeal to the FBI or an investigative agency to come and do an investigation to give a report. At the end of the particular report we are talking about, the fire consultant wrote there, they are not forensic fire experts. They are not forensic investigator, that the country needed a forensic fire investigator. So I'm not saying, it's not me who's saying it. I'm only quoting what they said. The expertise does not extend to forensic investigation when it comes to fire.
So your definition of independent would be if they had applied to a institution in the United States, right?
That's correct.
That should be your definition of independent.
That's it.
Which is wrong. That's
Father Washington, if I hire my own personal investigator, that person cannot be independent. They work for me.
What do you need personal? What's the definition of personal in this case?
So we'll go over the topic again, and we have to have our.
All right, gentlemen. I don't want us to go ultra-virus. I don't want you to go ultra-virus. It seems to be you are on the path to ultra-virus.
They don't trust the fire service in Liberia, so they hire other people who, for them, are independent because they don't belong to the Liberian government. And they came in the country, and still you don't want them.
Do we even know?
The government pays them. They work for the government.
They don't work for the government. They are independent.
All right, let leave it there. Let's come to Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams, we're talking about the fire chiefs who went to Liberia's report. What is your take? They gave their funding and they said the same thing the locals said, that, hey, this fire was started by somebody. It must have been somebody. It was not electrical shock or something. Somebody started this fire.
Say what you may about our lack of capacity. Say what you may about our lack of resources. The level of expertise that we have is what we have. And I tap them on the shoulders. I think they do a good job, but with the limitations they have. To have had so-called experts come from overseas and basically validate what our local incapacitated institutions were able to come up with is laudable. I will say that. I think it was an effort by the police and government to validate their statement, in essence, strengthen their case against their projected perpetrators of the fire at the Capitol. Whether or not they succeeded, I am not sure. The experts who say that, and it was clear. I did listen to Dennis. I think it was yesterday with his the day before, with a Liberian expert as well, who too have worked with these folks before, and he did say, and that was clarity for me, is that a fire investigator's job is not to determine who did it. That's the job of the police. His job is to determine how the fire started and what could have been behind the process. And so what they said was no different from what our locals had already said. And so for me, it was just an opportunity at validating government's attempt at validating, getting validation, external validation, even though they basically paid for it. And so the question of independence does not necessarily fit into this conversation, because those are people directly contracted by the government to conduct an independent investigation. Will be somebody maybe taking their own money out of the pocket or brought in by private individuals, not by government, but by private individuals to conduct intrusive investigation, influencing investigation into the process. So it was, for me, an attempt to validate what they had already filed and support their
Well,
claims.
I wonder though, how do we
Thank you, gentlemen. We shouldn't go ultra virus. We're going to go to the columns. They are out of patience. I think they are unhappy with me. So let me get to them here quickly. We have a caller on the line. The name that appear here say Kenneth Bactel, phone number ending in 6619. You are live and you have a minute. Let us hear you. Caller, are you there?
Yes, good evening to all. My name is Evelyn Sirleaf.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you are loud and clear. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, come close to the phone and speak. Don't listen to whether the Facebook.
Close to the phone.
Yes, don't listen to the show on whether the TV or the phone. Cut it off. Just listen to the phone call. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to speak into the fire at the Capitol building first, if you permit me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Liberia as a country and Liberians, we need to put a stop to this. It's about time that we speak the truth. That whole thing at the Capitol building, talking about the broad independence, from day one, I said to myself, the first day of the incident, that whole place should have been secure. But people were walking in and out. How do you bring people to say they are coming to investigate? They don't. There's no forensic to say who. I should rather put it. The government only brought these people in to validate their witch hunting. I'm not for any process, to be very frank with you. But I just believe in justice to be done to all men. They arrested a young man to implicate the speaker, to justify the reason for removing him. So they had a proof of case, and they brought in these men, came and said, we gather our information from witnesses. Or independent will not go to witness, will not even take the police report. They will go in there, carry on the work, and give the report. It's up to you not to compare it. But if you have to go and look at the report and then gather information from witnesses, who are these witnesses, and come up and give a kind of a report to confuse everybody, it is bad. We have to stop. That's all I have to say. That whole thing was just a mess.
Thank you.
Spending Liberian people money again. Now that comes to the speaker with the president, Omen Bwaka. It's painful.
Thank you.
For people to sit there and say that, no, he didn't know or he knew. Some folks come in this place to get jobs. They want Bwaka to hire them. Not this group. I admire about listening to people. Bwaka was in it from day one based on his statement he made. He refused to even recognize the speaker as someone who has been in government by his age. He's blunder, and it should be told to him, and he can go forward. And I wish the old man well, but he's blunder. But because he sees that the Supreme Court is about to give a ruling, and that will go against him, and he will look bad, he want to say, now I want to intervene. It is late, except for those who want to get in to say, oh, it's never too late. It is late. He's blunder, and he needs to live up to it. Come to the Liberian for my people are sorry, a good leader.
Thank you.
I get wrong by you people to cause chaos in a country like this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And who knows, the people finding maybe they told you that nonsense you own, you have to stop.
Thank
because
you.
They wanted to implicate. I don't even know the young man, the speaker. So thank you for giving me the time for Liberians have to speak to, and I'm going to join Billy Party.
Thank you.
Because you see from Liberia, you invest in Liberia, you my man. But you see it come buy house in America and go abroad. No, at least he's doing something. The envy and jealousy should stop when people do good things.
Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless your long life.
Thank you. It seems to be the citizen movement for change by Mr. Bedete is gaining momentum. Dr. Willen, you see?
I'm going to contact the tomorrow. And I'm going to be in Nigeria because I'm interested in what he wants to do.
Thank you.
It's empowering people.
Thank
the
you.
Young people, the people who come Soko today will have to be careful.
Thank you. Thank you.
If
Thank
somebody
you.
arm this ball, it will be them against us.
Thank you so much.
But we call these things Zoko.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the next caller. Thank you. Let's go to the next caller here. That is Mr. Evis Morris. Mr. Morris, you are live.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shear, and hello to the rest of the panelists. Look, I think you guys have done a great job tonight, in your analysis. On the issue of ability, I think, I hate to say, I think the caliber of man that Alexander Cummings is, his character, his achievements in corporate America is really outstanding. But when you go to the local level and you put him on par with Musa Belty, who is entrenched in every facet of Liberian political life, he has more political capital in Liberia than Cummings does. And one of the reasons is that Mr. Cummings, for some reason, you have to understand the terrain that you're playing. If you're a Congo man, stand proudly on your Congo school. You have the Congo book, and you're against other people who are sympathetic to you. You have a base. You have to get your base. Don't go in politics trying to be ambiguous. Mr. Cummings, they didn't tell us who he was. One day, Mariah Yakula said us he's a Gribble man. The next day, we say he's a Congo man. We didn't know who he was. Musa Belede is a Mandingo monument. That's who he is. The Mandingo people will governize around him as a son. In his mother hometown, in Encyclopedia, they will governize around him as a child of a man and woman. This is Liberia. So if you go to Liberia and you try to be, I'm not going to play tribal politics. The Congo people are a tribe. They are a group of people. If you come from those people, stand proudly and beat your chest and say, I'm a Congo man. There are a lot of Congo people in that country and people who are sympathetic to them. So I don't know why Mr. Cummings want to play this, I'm not on one side. I mean, I'm right in the middle. Find your base. And I think Musa Belede has done. He's done.
But Evans, two things can be true though. Mr. Cummings can be a Congo man and he can also be global. Don't you think that is possible?
Well, I get it, but come on, find say who you are. Did you ever find I'm a global man, a global surrounding you?
Yeah, he has done so. Mr. Cummings has done so. I remember. Hold on. From the tribal politics, hold on. It's a
graduation that we haven't reached there yet. We haven't graduated.
I think Mr. Cummings has done.
Sentiment.
Are you hearing me, Evans? I think Mr. Cummings has done so. Mr. Cummings has done so. He has identified with his people. Maybe not to your liking, or maybe it's not done satisfactorily to your, understanding. I know of an event where Mr. Cummings was dressed in the, I would call it the Gribble kind of traditional clothes, where he tied a lapa, he had a coat suit on. They did that in the Clarendon area where we have a lot of global people. I think he identified with his people. You can argue that maybe it's not enough to your liking. That's another debate, but I think he has identified.
It's not about my liking, Mr. Shea.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, right? It's not about my liking. There was a push in the election, at the end of the election, to try to, sympathize with the global people. And I'm saying the people in Liberia consider Cummings a Congo man, which he does have Congo blood. Play to that. Don't try to run away from it. You can, like, for example, I'm a crown man. My mother's a Basso. I'm both. If I go to Grand Basso, I'll tell I'm a son of Basso. If I go to Grand G, I'm a son of Grand G. You got two parents. So if you have dual heritage, you lean into both of them, like Musa Belede is doing. He's not just going to Nimakani and say, I'm a Mandingo man. No, he goes to his mother hometown and he identifies with the amount of people there. So I'm just saying, Mr. Cummings has to be smart. He has to get a better advisor. But let me just conclude quickly. My last point here is the Supreme Court. I think what the Supreme Court did, trying to be with this ambiguity and trying to make their ruling conspicuous to the non-legal minded people, was a disservice to the country. We're all said that. A blind man in a dark room can clearly see that what happened in the House of Representatives was wrong. The Supreme Court knew that from the get-go. Now, former President Sirleaf is being a hypocrite and talking a bunch of sabata, something that she herself did. So two speakers.
Did we lose Elvis?
United Party Party, LEC. Yeah, Mr. Shea.
for the show. You guys have really done a good job. I enjoy listening. And thank you for taking my call.
Thank you.
Alvin Morris there. Thank you so much. Jerome, thank you. I didn't know that I muted myself and you couldn't get Evan Morris. There was noise in my background, so that I muted myself. I forgot. Gentlemen, I think we've done justice to what we had on the debate menu. At this point, I want to commend our followers, those who stay with us throughout debate, throughout this show. I want to recognize our good friend Sam Wallow. Mr. Wallow has been very conspicuous, religious, to focus on Liberia. He's here, he's holding us accountable, he's criticizing us, and I like that. Mr. Wallow, I salute you, brother, with all the criticism and your support for Mr. Bwaka. And we've been tough on the administration. You stay here, you stay the course, brother. Thank you. This is how it should be. We can disagree.
He eating crow now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he didn't put his HPS again tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see the list tonight. Maybe you remember.
It went up. The MOU behind it. MOU there.
Yeah.
Wallow is the most predictable guy on the show. Where he got three things. He always bring an MOU, an HMP, and 5,000 jobs.
But in all fairness, I give it out to Mr. Wallow. I know others have been following Focus on Liberia, but since he got here, always here. I'm not sure of any show he has ever missed. I don't know. And Mr. Wallow, we thank you for that.
The man's by the UP brigade.
My man,
who value our time of coming to debate the issue despite your disagreement. We are here and continuing to do this.
My man, don't leave out David Flomo. Don't leave out Flomo.
Flomo, okay, yeah. Recognize other people that you notice have been here. Evan Murray is part of the platform, and I just want to give it out to Mr. Sam Wallow. Thank you, brother, for your consistency in following the program. We need all of you to be part of it. That's the only reason. That's when we'll have more reason to be here, that people are following. Thank you. Gentlemen, I think we've done justice to the issue. You're closing, and if you want to recognize any of our followers, those who've been part of the discussion today, you can also do. Thank you. Go ahead, and let's start with Father Washington. You're closing, sir.
Mr. Sia, thank you very much. I think it's been a healthy exchange, and I'm glad I'll be on the platform. I'm glad that we had the time to be about the things that happen in our country and trying to find how we can find a solution helping our country. But it's a mystery that a country where the people are very poor, people keep stealing from them, but the very people would tell the politicians that, oh, get my mark, get my power, we'll vote for you. You can steal the money, just come and use the money on us. We will stay vote for you. And, that's the mystery. And it's sad, but we will never give up our country. We just try to say the right thing, and we hope that our people will listen, and there'll come a time that they will make a right decision. But it's been a wonderful show, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Father Washington, for your contribution tonight, and also ones that you've done in the past and the ones you will do in the future. Focus on Liberia is here, and we want to remind you that our content now on 2 radio stations in Liberia. We are making progress. Tomorrow we should have a live radio show. It will start at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It will be on Kia Radio. Our content also on OCM Radio. ONCM stands for Original Countrymen. One Dr. Nimne, who has a radio station in the Carwet area. Our content is there every Tuesday and every Thursday. If you are in Liberia, tell your family members to tune in to Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We say it as we see it. And we also want to give special recognition to Dr. George William, who have been negotiating between Focus on Liberia and Kia Radio, ensuring that the content is on the radio. We will be on the radio tomorrow in Liberia, and you do not want to miss it. And we have a guest, Deacon Carlos, the name you might have heard before. It's our guest on the tomorrow show, and don't miss it. Dr. William, you're closing, and you can speak to what we have been able to put together so far, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I think these conversations have helped and are helping to move our country forward. The variety of voices that continue to speak to the issues. We may be far, but we're making meaningful contribution in terms of helping to not only educate the population, but also provide, put fire to the foot of those in charge of leadership in the country. And together, we're hoping and trusting that we can all move forward. Tomorrow is the launch of our first live program. We're looking at the missing voice. One very conspicuous phenomenon obtaining right now in the country is there's barely anyone who can stand up and speak around which the population can rally. And that's concerning. And so we're bringing in Mr. Collar to help us, decompartmentalize this process, do an insightful investigation as to why have we come here, why are we here, and what can be done to get us out of it. There isn't a voice right now on the political landscape or social landscape, religious landscape like we had in the past. And so that speaks volume to it. It has to be a generational phenomenon, and we need some understanding around that so as to help us see the future, engage the future better. So hopefully, Deacon is coming over. He's excited. Anthony and I have spoken to him, and he called us back today and said, hey, you guys ready? And we're ready. We're ready to move on. Hopefully, on our Saturday programs, we hope to have guests. The rest of the week will be us, but every Saturday we hope to have guests. So please reach into your network, bring on board people who can help feed, our appetite for great conversation. All right. That being said, thank you all for the conversation tonight. We're happy that things are unfolding as they are in Liberia. I don't see the legislative issue as a death necessarily. I see it more as a growth in our political journey forward. I see it as a growth, an opportunity where we're all going to learn. Trust me, after this incident, the changing of the speaker is never going to be taken as lightly as it was. It's going to be tough going forward. But also, hopefully, that it strengthens other institutions of government, including the Senate, because they're susceptible to this kind of in-house coup. And so they must now begin to strengthen their own laws, internal laws, to ensure that something like this doesn't occur anymore. Every opportunity like this should be a learning opportunity, should be a teachable moment. We should be instituting reforms to make sure we strengthen our governance structures and methods. And so, again, thanks everybody for your contributions tonight. It's always an enlightening and insightful experience being here with you, Victor, Jerome, Elijah, and Dr. Pearson. It's always enlightening. And to yourself, Anthony, a great moderator.
Thank you. Mr. Gilman, my good friend from the Sunshine State.
Yeah,
the dolphin chicken outlet and Vikings, my man. What happened to us?
It's all right.
The man from the Eagle is flying.
The Eagle know how to take care of dolphins and everybody else. But 1979, after the rice riot, after everything else, I was at Bassett High School, and obviously I was. They used to call it the pile baby. And someone asked me and said, you are so entrenched with the pile thing, and someday you're going to be like Marcus Matthews. And I said, no, I want to be like Deacon Collar. Deacon Collar's position was, he was the coordinator general, the guy who coordinated everything. So he was the nerve point. I said, you guys are looking at Marcus Matthews. Marcus Matthews is the end product, but who makes him to be to where he is Deacon, the guy who actually coordinates everything. That's the guy that I've always wanted to be. So when I met him in New Jersey, he and I spoke, and we've been in several of those things. But anyway, Deacon right here, Deacon Collar, that's the man. I'm glad he's doing very well. Well, in closing, this particular mismanagement of this administration and the lack of leadership, incompetence on the side of Joseph Boakai, indict the entire country. Can you imagine the Senate concur with the House, with this, the proprietor House concur with their budget, and the president signs. The president invited the proprietor speaker to the SONA to preside over the SONA. This is unbelievable. Then a member of the House brought in contention the Arthur Grant School of Law. This family man who said he graduated from the Arthur Grant School of Law and he's a lawyer in the Republic of Liberia, looks at the associate justice and call him a drunk because he made clarity on the ruling. He said his talk was nothing but liquor talk. This is a man who graduated from the law school and hopefully a member of the bar that practices before the Supreme Court, looks at the Supreme Court and says he's a drunk. What he's talking is liquor talk. This brings the Arthur Grant School of Law into question. What are they teaching these people? Who teaches ethics over there? So ladies and gentlemen, when we are talking about fire investigation, you want to begin with forensic evidence that can be adduced in the court of law. At the end of this particular investigation, the general made it clear they are not forensic experts. The government, and believe me or not, whomever it is that is accused will have to put them on the stand. And what they produce and adduce will not stand in the court of law, because whoever is accused will bring their own experts. And now you're going to see that this thing is going to be playing on a major scale, and Joseph Boakai is going to be exposed as he's been exposed already. Ladies and gentlemen, those of us who have been saying this, we have been vindicated. I'm looking forward to hearing what my sister Kou will say, who says that the people had the right to remove him because they elected and they have the right to remove him anytime they don't want him. Hopefully she's listening. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gilman, thank you for your closing. It was a little more ultra virus in terms of time.
It's all right.
All right. Dr. Pearson, Mr. Nam, we're going to get a final word tonight. Your closing, sir.
Yeah, Anthony, I think your conclusion, your opinion on Mr. Gilman is ambiguous.
I know, right? Because I didn't give similar ruling on Dr. Williams, right? Go ahead.
I will close by saying this. I think the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, I think the engagement in Liberia since, as long as I have known them, they've been engaged in Liberian politics, in advocacy for good governance in Liberia. They were vocal during George Weah time. They're vocal now. I think it's in the right direction. We all have a stake in our country, and we should be able to stand for it when the time comes. And I think in the call for sanction, when they did that letter, what I read there was that they said whoever bears the greatest responsibility, all right, in the process should be held accountable. If possible, sanction. I think that's a good thing. They should keep it up. I want to commend them for that. On the issue about the fire, I think it was a missed opportunity for those firefighters that came to help us out. I think that should have been the first thing the government would have done instead of waiting for 3 months into the incidents before calling them. And like they said, the report mentioned that there are a lot of limitations in our fire department in terms of how they handle evidence and preservation of evidence and all the kind of things. Those are damaging for whatever investigation they did prior. So I think, but I want to thank them for the effort and the time. And let me say, independence, well, we count just for Reverend Washington. I think independence counts in the recruitment of the experts that you are inviting. So if the way you recruit them will determine their independence. So if you had a fair process, a participatory process where various groups are vetted, and then one of them is selected from a panel, that would be great, because in that instance, nobody went and handpicked like we see them doing with the PPCC these days. Everything is no objection procurement, and even with the 285 machine, no objection procurement. And I think that's bad for us. And I close by saying, listen, don't underestimate my brother and my friend Berete. Berete is playing to 3 different groups in Liberia right now. He's playing to the Mandingo tribe. He's playing to the Manon tribe. He's also playing to those in Monserrato who he has gained traction from his time in Liberty Party. With the Basapo also beating his drum right now. So let us pray that what he's doing is going to be done in the best interest of our Liberian people. And in the end, everyone has the right to run for election. So I bid him Godspeed. Thank you, Anthony.
Dr. Washington, thanks. And as always, thank you. J. Victor Namwe.
Yeah.
You did the final word, and I want you to be strong on the ULAA thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Thank you. I think Dr. Pearson said pretty much a good chunk of what I wanted to say. But first, let me say I'm happy that Deacon will be on the show tomorrow. The room knows we go way, way back, but we got even much closer during our stint with the UPB times. And then, of course, we went to NRC, National Readjustment Commission, and I followed him there before I went to the UN. He's a brother, he's a mentor, he's a friend, he's a very knowledgeable guy. In community organization, organizing. So I'm glad he'll be on the show tomorrow. But let me say this about the ULAA thing. Look, tomorrow we're meeting with a VP, and I hope he's going to tell us what his role is in this whole thing. Because back in December, if you remember, in mid-December, Musa Ability and other people have confirmed that indeed he was trying to arrange a meeting with Kofa to kind of try to bridge this rapprochement. So where is he in this thing? I'm not a head of delegation tomorrow, but I hope I'll be in the room tomorrow. We have to ask him what is his role in this whole thing. What does he feel about it, and how does he think we can get out of it? So I hear Jerome and I hear others. ULAA is this, ULAA is that, and all of that. But what is ULAA? ULAA is us, all of us. ULAA is not an exclusive club. Come to ULAA, make it a ULAA you want it to be. We're doing the best we can. We know in recent past, ULAA has suffered some real crisis of confidence. We get that. And we're not saying we're the best team ever. We're trying to work with what we have. But you have to come and join the team. You don't have to be a full-time engagement. Come and give an advice. Tell us what to do. For instance, we have a situation like this. Give us a one-liner. Gentlemen, maybe ladies and gentlemen, maybe you handle this. And we'll take down our advisement. Be a part of the solution. So we're going in tomorrow. We'll meet with the VP. I'm happy he's coming. He's the vice president of the Republic of Liberia. Whether we have any differences or whatever it is with the government, we don't see ourselves as opposition to the government. We're partners. We will call the government out when they are running out of step, and we will pat them on the back when they do well. That's what we're here for, and we hope to do that with the VP tomorrow. So we're hoping that this fracas that we could do without for the past 6 months or so. We hope we're seeing the end of the tunnel. We hope what is emerging out of Monrovia is for real. We hope this is an attempt to begin to wrap this thing up so that we can really engage in doing the people's business. That's what this government came for. It's been there 12 months or so. It doesn't need this distraction. So yes, we've lost a lot to this artificial creation, and hope we're about to put it behind us. So I want to thank you all for the show. My friend Waller here has been asking a lot of questions. Like you say, I want to commend him and commend others, who try to keep us, they keep us in check. Sometimes you counter some of our assertions, which it's academic. I like that, because we're not always right. We all make mistakes because we're humans. So, great show tonight. I thank you for making it worth our while, and also for, we're here because of you. So we thank you very much. Great show. Thanks to FOL, and hopefully we'll be on the radio tomorrow before we go to Philadelphia.
Mr. Lambert, thanks for that closing. And gentlemen, thanks for debating so substantively tonight, and to our audience for being very attentive to the debate. As it went on, we will now close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." And don't forget to follow us tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be live on the radio in Liberia, and that time is 2 p.m. GMT in Liberia. The song that says "We are all Liberians."
Anthony,
right now. Yep.
Sorry, today is International Women's Day. Please, I'll be remiss if I don't say Happy Women's Day to all the women in my life, including my wife, Ye Mix, and my mother-in-law, Janet Garment, and all the women. I'm sure we all feel the same way. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nabwe, I'm glad that you have pointed that out. I will be in trouble with Dennis if this, is not said. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Focus on Liberia to recognize the women of Liberia for making us who we have become. Thank you for making us who we are, and thank you for keeping us on track. We are men today because of you, our women. To our sisters and our mothers, we commend you, women who are leaders in our communities. We thank you for being everything we actually know you to be. On that note, the song says we are all Liberians, and bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.